Where are you? Are you safe? Half shouting, I checked on Michael's well-being, who I presumed was at the site of the fire. But over the phone, he replied with an annoyed tone. What's with the sudden call? I'm at work, obviously. And don't call me during work hours. With just those few words, he hung up abruptly. It would be impossible for him to be working as usual at the site of a fire. Realizing that Michael wasn't at his workplace, I was convinced of his betrayal and decided to proceed with a plan I had prepared earlier. My name is Susan, I'm 29 years old. As a nurse working in a hospital, I face numerous patients daily. Having been known as a caring and a nurturing person since childhood, I still enjoy being helpful to others as an adult. Thus, I even consider nursing to be my true calling. I have a beloved husband whom I've been married to for 2 years, living a happy married life in Michael's company housing. We met through a mutual friend 3 years ago. At a gathering with a few friends, Michael, perhaps out of shyness, drank too quickly and soon passed out. Maybe it was due to my profession as a nurse or just my nature. But I couldn't leave intoxicated him alone and ended up taking care of him at my place, despite it being our first meeting. The next day, Michael, who remembered nothing, seriously said, I'll take responsibility. Which made me burst out laughing. After clearing up his misunderstanding and explaining that nothing guilty had occurred, he apologized, embarrassed. From there, we started dating and got married after a year of relationship. Now, 3 years into our marriage, we don't have children yet, but I believe that with Michael, we can build a warm home. However, lately, perhaps due to his busy work schedule, his weekend work has increased, and he has become more distant. Moreover, even while sitting together on the sofa watching TV, he often just stares at his phone screen or lets out a big, ugh. At first, I wondered if I had done something to upset him and reflected on my actions, but couldn't pinpoint anything specific. Gradually, I became worried about his health and started researching nutritionally balanced menus, making more effort in preparing lunch and dinner. One day. My workplace operates on a day and night shift system, and I was originally scheduled for a night shift that day. However, the day before, a colleague contacted me saying, I need to switch from the day shift to the night shift, and so I ended up changing to the day shift abruptly. Since I had initially told Michael I would be on a night shift, I planned to inform him of the change but got caught up and ended up only being able to contact him on the day itself. I sent a message saying, my shift changed to day today, so I'll make dinner and wait for you, but didn't receive a quick reply. Thinking he might be busy at work, I focused on my duties, and hours later, I got a simple got it reply. Previously, he would reply sooner even during work, but lately it was just short responses. Is his job that demanding, or is this just what happens after 2 years of marriage? Feeling a bit lonely, I hurried home after buying ingredients from the supermarket, determined to make another nutritious meal. I was quite pleased with today's cooking. After plating the food, I took a photo and posted it on my cooking SNS account. Cooking for him has been my motivation, but lately, posting photos on SNS has also become a joy. Minutes after posting the photo, I received a notification on my phone. They commented again so quickly. One of the cooking buddies I met through my SNS cooking account has been commenting a lot lately. This connection, different from those with my coworkers, feels fresh and makes me happy. As I was doing this, he came home from work, and I quickly reheated the food, waiting to share dinner with him. Hi, dinner's ready. Was today busy for you? Yeah, thanks, it was tiring. By the way, you had a day shift all of a sudden. After seeing him, looking tired, sit down, I brought the reheated dinner to the table. Yeah, a colleague had an urgent matter. Sorry for the late notice, okay? We both sat down, said our thanks for the meal, and started eating. It's fine, it was a sudden change. But I'd appreciate it if you could let me know earlier next time. Sometimes I make plans to go out with colleagues. Ah, right, I understand. While saying this, I noticed he wasn't eating much. Is the food not to your liking? I wondered if it didn't suit his taste. When I asked out of concern, Michael, who was holding his fork, suddenly stopped and then opened his mouth with a somewhat awkward expression. No, it's not that. I just don't seem to have much of an appetite. Sorry, I'll eat it tomorrow morning. He gave a bitter laugh, said, thanks for the meal, and then stood up, heading towards the bathroom. More than half of the meal was still left on the table. As I suspected. With a new certainty in mind, I followed him to the bathroom. Hey, are you feeling unwell? You've been looking a bit down lately. I'm worried, so please go to the doctor. While brushing his teeth in the bathroom, he rinsed his mouth and laughed off my words, denying them. I'm fine, really. It might be because I haven't been exercising much lately. I'm going to go for a walk now. Saying that, he quickly got ready and headed to the front door. I'll come with you, I offered, but he gently declined. This made me even more worried. So, I decided to secretly follow him after he left, just in case he collapsed and needed immediate assistance. Even though that was my official reason, somewhere deep down, I might have already been swirling with a different kind of anxiety. That anxiety proved to be well-founded almost as soon as I started tailing him. Contrary to my worries, Michael, walking briskly, stopped in front of a park a short distance from our house. He looked around and seemed to be contacting someone on his phone. Then, a white car pulled up. Michael approached the car, briefly spoke with the person in the driver's seat, and then. It was hard to see in the dark. I moved a bit closer to the car, and my eyes caught the person in the driver's seat. A young woman with long curly hair, giving off a bewitching impression. The moment I saw her, my hand instinctively reached for my phone and started the camera. Michael got into the passenger seat. The woman smiled at him. I reflexively captured the moment in a photo, and by the time I came back to my senses, the car with the two of them had already driven off. Shock, confusion, suspicion, a whirlwind of emotions rendered me unable to move from that spot. Then, I received a message from him saying, I ran into someone I know, so I'll be home late. Someone he knows? By chance? The scene I had just witnessed was seared into my mind, and I couldn't bring myself to believe his words. Eventually, he didn't return home until after 1 a.m. My anxiety having reached its limit, tears streaming down my face, I confronted him with the photo I had taken. Seeing the photo, he froze for a moment, then quickly tried to laugh it off, saying, "Oh, I just happened to meet her during my walk. She's a client from work. It was just a consultation, nothing more." Trust me, he said with a sorrowful look, almost as if he were the victim. Discouraging any further questioning. After that, his work seemed to get busier, and he often had to work overtime, especially on days I had a day shift. Despite our increasingly divergent schedules, I tried to find time to talk about what had happened. Only to be turned down because he was too tired. Overtime yesterday, working on his day off today. Really? During work, whenever I let my guard down, the image of Michael and that woman together would come to mind, leaving me restless. After finishing a night shift, the morning sun stung my tired eyes. Having been consumed by anxiety and worry lately, I hadn't been taking care of myself. So I stopped by a bakery open early in the morning and bought a cake. Feeling slightly better, I left the shop and took a different route home. This area, with many hotels, often has couples that seem to be up to something, but it was quiet this early in the morning. Carefully walking to prevent the cake from crumbling, I thought to myself, I have some tea at home, maybe we could enjoy it together. Across the street from the hotel I was passing, I caught a glimpse of a young couple coming out. My eyes casually drifted over, and I froze. It was Michael, smiling sleepily, and the woman with the long curly hair from the other day, smiling back at him. The cake slipped from my hands and squished onto the ground. With my mind going blank, all that remained was a sense of duty. I must capture evidence. With trembling hands, I took out my phone and captured a photo of the two of them, arm in arm, smiling at each other. The shot captured them looking like a couple in love. My heart pounded, and a cold sweat broke out. Indeed, he was lying. In my field of vision were the cake box on the ground and the photo of the two. While staring blankly at them, I thought in the back of my mind, I can't stay with him anymore. One day, after a series of events turned my suspicions about him into certainty, the word divorce began to feel like a real option. That day, I was working the day shift as usual, busy with my tasks. While I was on the phone, I could hear the sound of fire engine sirens in the distance, passing through the neighborhood. It wasn't just one, but 2 or 3 in a row, which made me a bit worried that there might be a fire somewhere. After finishing the call and taking a moment to breathe, 2 colleagues who had been to the wards returned, saying, "It's scary, isn't it?" As they chatted. "Hey, what happened?" I asked, wondering if there had been some trouble. They whispered, "There was a fire at Company A patient we passed in the hallway mentioned it." Company A, fire. At that moment, a chill ran down my spine. Excusing myself from my colleagues, I gripped my phone and hurried to a secluded spot. Company A, where the fire was reported, was where Michael worked. Praying for his safety, I called him. That morning, as usual, I had seen him off to work. Since the incident, we had barely seen each other at home and spoke even less, but I never skipped seeing him off in the morning. "Please, pick up." As if my prayers were answered, after a few rings, I heard Michael's voice say, "Hello? Where are you? Are you safe?" Half shouting, I checked on his well-being, but he replied with an annoyed tone. "What's with the sudden call? I'm at work, obviously. And don't call me during work hours." With just those few words, he hung up abruptly. All I could hear was the beeping sound indicating the call had ended. From his tone on the phone, I was relieved he didn't seem to be caught in the fire, but a significant discomfort lingered. It would be impossible to work normally at the sight of a fire. Furthermore, his earlier words and attitude, which trampled over my worried feelings, began to fuel my anger. He must not be at his workplace right now. I had seen him off to work as usual that day, but he must not have headed to his workplace. Since getting married, I might have been unknowingly seeing off him as he went to another woman. Out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw a glimpse of lustrous long curly hair swaying. With a firm decision in mind, I dialed a certain number on my phone. After finishing work safely, I hurried home and began gathering all the furniture and appliances. Then, the doorbell rang, ding-dong. When I opened the door, it wasn't Michael standing there, but a friend from college. This friend, who knew about my situation with Michael, had volunteered to help me with my escape this time. Despite calling from work and asking for urgent help with moving my belongings, she gladly accepted. "Thank you so much. I'll treat you to something nice next time." Expressing my gratitude, she responded with a smile, "You've had a tough time, haven't you? I'm always here to help." I felt warmed by the thought of having such a good friend during these challenging times. Together, we moved the furniture and appliances out and loaded the clothes I had prepared a few weeks in advance into the car. The room, now devoid of the furniture and appliances I had used since my single days, looked almost empty. Looking at the room, I asked myself again if I had any regrets about leaving this life behind. No, I don't need it anymore. Without a second glance back, I briskly turned on my heel, heading to an apartment near my workplace. In fact, the day I witnessed Michael coming out of the hotel with her, I went straight to a real estate agent in a burst of momentum. Though I wasn't entirely set on divorcing, I had rented an apartment in advance, just in case. I started unpacking the moved-in belongings, reassured that I had made the right choice. Then, I suddenly remembered something and took out my phone. Holding the phone to my ear, I waited for the impersonal voice guidance to begin. A few hours later, the moving work had come to a pause. As I was taking a break, a call came in on WhatsApp. Checking the display, I saw Michael's name. I sighed and, after a brief pause, answered with a "Hello? Susan, where are you right now? I came home to an empty house, and my phone's been disconnected." "What's going on?" "Most of the stuff in the house was mine to begin with, so I just took it. The phone was under my name, so I canceled the contract." His panic was palpable through the phone, but I stated the facts calmly. "Wait, I thought you couldn't use your phone." "I can only use WhatsApp when connected to Wi-Fi." "But forget that, are you seriously running away from home? You're joking, right?" His obliviousness to the situation only added to my irritation. "Are you serious right now? Don't pretend you forgot our conversation earlier today. It's impossible for someone to calmly work while there's a fire going on." Struggling to keep my anger in check, I asked what I had wanted to know all day, no, for a long time. "Where were you, and who were you with, instead of going to the office?" At my question, he caught his breath and fell silent. After a brief silence, perhaps unable to withstand my silent pressure, he began to speak as if resigning himself. "The story I told you before, about running into a client while on a walk, was a lie. She's actually a colleague from work. And I was at her house today. The story he unraveled was just as I had anticipated. He had started an affair with the receptionist, Amanda, 6 months ago. They had been meeting on the days I had night shifts. But recently, as she became more demanding, he lied about working overtime or on holidays to meet her. Today, they had both taken a day off to spend at her place, where they learned about the fire when she received a call on her phone. After confessing everything, he still said, "Please forgive me," with a pleading voice over the phone. I thought it was absurd. "I'm glad I got to hear the truth from you. I tried my best to build a good home during our short marriage." Over the phone, I could tell he was saying, "Wait," trying to hold me back, but I ignored it and continued speaking. "I want a divorce because of your affair. We'll proceed with divorce through our lawyers. Goodbye." He seemed to want to say more, but, resigned to my firm stance, he only murmured, "Okay." The fire at Company A was later covered by local news due to its scale. Watching the report, I was stunned. The culprit was Michael's mistress, Amanda. She had sneaked into a company meeting room early in the morning, frayed a curtain, and lit the resulting thread with a lighter. The fire quickly spread across the curtain, leading to the meeting room's complete destruction. Fortunately, the building itself only sustained partial damage, but security footage revealed Amanda's actions. As for her motive, she said, "The married man I was dating wouldn't divorce, and threatening to expose our relationship at work didn't work. I thought I had to do something like this." I couldn't understand why she would commit a crime just to be with Michael. According to her colleagues, Amanda often complained about being lonely, saying, "It's hard being alone." Maybe she envied married people who seemed to have everything and thought acquiring such a relationship would fill her own void. I realized that feeling lonely despite being with someone could be far worse. After the divorce discussion, I had no direct contact with Michael, but we proceeded with the divorce through lawyers. Meanwhile, I heard about Michael's situation at work. After the fire, he, genuinely unaware of the situation, was shocked to learn the truth from the HR department. Amanda was arrested shortly after, and the news of their affair quickly spread throughout the company. Unable to endure the behind-the-back talk, he resigned from his company. Hearing about this series of events, I felt a slight sympathy, but I also felt that Michael got what he deserved for choosing another woman over me. With that sentiment, I proceeded with the divorce proceedings dispassionately, and the divorce was finalized without issue. The process went smoothly, partly because Michael eventually agreed our divorce. With my ties to him completely severed, I've been enjoying living alone in my new apartment, which I've grown quite accustomed to. Perhaps I had neglected myself by prioritizing others in the past. While continuing my job as a nurse, I've started to take time for myself, especially to enjoy cooking, which had become my greatest pleasure in my marriage to Michael. In the morning, I open the windows of my apartment to let in fresh air. Glancing outside, I see a family of 3 walking together happily. Even seeing this, I don't feel any regret about my current situation. Instead, I'm excited about what the future holds. Just then, my phone buzzes, and I return to my room, smiling as I read the screen. Since then, I've hit it off with someone I connected with through my cooking SNS account, and we've made plans to cook together today. I replied to the message saying, "I'll be there soon," and got started on preparing for today's meal.